Hola, hola, muy buenos dias, continuous liners. Hello, hello. Yum, I just got my latte here. I'm here. This is Meagan Burns coming to you live from the streets of Mexico, La Ciudad de Mexico. And I gotta tell you, the hottest craze, all the kids are wearing ducks in their heads, and the ducks have different design. And this particular pato has a monkey on its head, and if you have spent any time in Mexico City, you get it, because what that is when you go to the zoo in the Chapultepec Park, they have monkeys that you put on your head, and everyone wears them, right? So it's very chilango cool to have a monkey on your head. So I have a duck with a monkey on my head. How about that, huh? So yeah, I'm here in the streets of, I think I'm in Roma Sur right now. Just got my latte. I'm out on a bike ride. Oh my God, it feels so good to be out and about on a bike. I mean, I love my little moto scooter. I love my moto scooter, but there's nothing like riding a bike around. It is my favorito thing. So here on this, it's April 15th. Oh my God. And I got my continuous line warm-up book here with me. And I'm going to start doing some lines, making some lines, right? I've been having some fun. I'm finalizing final details for my workshop that starts this week. But in between, I'm doing some sketching, doing some bike riding, doing some urban sketching, and yeah, it feels so good to be back here in the city. I love this city, even though it's gotten, I will admit, I have seen such an increase in prices on this trip here, and I was just here 3 months ago, and the difference is kind of remarkable. Right? I mean, I know that that's happening. Oh, look at these guys. Hi. I know that that is just the way of the world right now. I'm not, going to cry too much, because first of all, it is what is happening around the world. And generally speaking, I'm doing okay, right? Like, I don't have a family to feed. I don't have a mortgage to pay. I don't have car payments. I don't have insurance for cars and houses and children. So generally speaking, in the grand scheme of things, I don't have a lot of overhead, right? It's just me tooling around Mexico, doing live streams in cafes and my workshops, and so I have a pretty low overhead, and I have zero dependence. Isn't that what you call it? Dependence? I don't even have a dog anymore. Let me see what that is. Oh, okay. I would like to have a dog, especially being back here in Mexico City, because everybody has a dog. And like, I'm here at the cafe, and there's 2 dogs. This, by the way, is a very cool building, very Art Deco-y. I'll show it to you in a moment. I drew it over the weekend with my parallel pen. Oh my God, so cool. That parallel pen, if you don't have one, I recommend you get one, because it's really cool, because you can just take a whole swath of ink and make a line with it, right? It's a little intimidating at first, because it's a very strong pen. But yeah, it is. The more I play with it, the more I'm dancing with it, and the more I enjoy it. All right, so, this coffee is so good. I need to keep it close. Here, let me show you this building, because it's super cool. Let me just show you where I'm at here. I'm here in Roma Sur. I thought it was Roma Norte, but it all kind of blends together. Oh, my foot is caught. All right, so it's a pretty corner. This is a little bit louder than what I like for a live stream, but I just thought, because this building, let's see, can you see the building? There it is. Look at that building. Isn't that cool? Art Deco with the awnings and everything. And this is one of my more preferred cafes. And look, there's a guy sweeping right at my table there. So I'm hearing the sounds of the branches, wood branches with against the concrete. And I love that sound. It's the sound of waking up in Mexico City. The only thing we need now is like the recording of like Sell us your colchones, refrigeradores, estufas. Chickies used to always howl at that. It cracked me up. So the sounds of the morning in Mexico is one of my most favorite things. I mean, honestly, the sounds of the morning everywhere, right? Like, you probably can't hear it because of my microphone thingy, but the sound of the wood sticks on the concrete, I love it. The smell of coffee, the smell of tortillas. You can smell tortillas wafting in the air. And not so much right now, but usually there's like peppers, chiles, burning the skins, right? And that makes your throat tickle. I mean, there's also exhaust and stuff like that, right? I saw somebody post, oh, someone told me that in this particular area it smells like a sewer. Well, honestly, Mexico City has had some problems with that, and it's certainly not as bad as it used to be. I remember it always kind of smelled like that a little. There was always like a, ugh. And they have done quite a bit to. I mean, have they remedied it? No. Every now and again, you get a little waft of like the sewer thing, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And honestly, show me a city that doesn't have problems with or issues with garbage, the whole garbage thing. I've talked about that a lot because I think that's a fascinating subject. We're talking about millions of people creating, everything is single waste plastic, right? Like, I try to be super mindful about single use plastic, but I'm staying in a hotel, and they give you 2 little bottles of water every day. They got rid of all the glassware in this hotel. So there's 2 little bottles, but I like a glass so I can brush my teeth and whatever. I just like to drink out of a glass. I don't want to drink out of plastic. So I went down and I said, hey, can I get some glass? Oh, no, we don't. We got rid of all the glass. And there's a restaurant in front, and I went to the restaurant. I said, could I get a glass? No, we don't have glass anymore. We only have plastic. I'm like, that's so bad. It's so bad. Because a single-use plastic, right? I mean, unless we have like a beautiful situation, something to do with all this plastic, do we? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, this is where I like to go to cafes and get Ceramica because, I mean, we all have to get the to-go cups now and again, right? It's something you just got to do, right? But when you can, get a Ceramica. It's very civilized. It's delicious. I mean, I'm telling you, Mexico City knows coffee. Mexico City knows coffee. Great cafes. Like every other block, there's a great cafe. And something else I've noticed is because I've been doing workshops in Mexico for a number of years, and like Americans come to Mexico City and they want their coffee at 6 a.m. Oh, let me keep drawing. That's what I'm here for, right? I mean, I think the Starbucks in the United States, and probably other cafes too, are open at 6 a.m. Are they still? I don't know, but I remember being back there and just knowing that cafes opened at 6 a.m., 6:30. I remember being in San Diego, everything was 6:30. And so Americans come here and they're like, oh no, sorry, not till 8, right? Like, what? That's like a whole morning shift without coffee, right? If the hotel doesn't make coffee or whatever. But something I've noticed this every time I'm here, and even when I was living here, more and more there's cafes opening up at 7 a.m. Are there 6 a.m.ers? I don't know. I'm not out looking for coffee at 6 a.m. But I am out sometimes at 7 a.m. and I see that cafes are open. Just a little, it's the shift in the culture, good or bad. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad. Mexico City is going through a whole, like many other cities. I mean, the reason why it's so hot here right now is because compared to the United States, it is way more affordable here, way more affordable. Although, that being said, prices here are rising at quite a gate, right? Quite a remarkable gate. The hotel where I've been doing my workshops at, and where I bring my groups, and it's a little cheap hotel, cheap, no frills, no luxury, basic, right? And I've been staying there for years because it's in a great location. It's in the middle of everything. Everything is right outside the front door. And they just tripled their prices. Tripled their prices, right? Now, I understand that. I mean, that price of that hotel was kind of out of step with the neighborhood, right? And the neighborhood of Roma Norte is going through a huge transition because honestly, and this, I mean, I've talked to a few of my Mexican friends, it bums everyone out, myself included. It's like you hear English, and I'm speaking English right now. Well, yes, I am. So am I part of the problem? Maybe. No, probably. I'm not going to say that I'm not, just because I've lived in Mexico for a long time, and I love Mexico, right? But you know, honestly, I'm living here because, well, not because, but not that I want to live in Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I wouldn't be able to afford living in Chicago. I mean, I would have to get some stupid office job that I hated. And honestly, I don't think anyone would hire me at this point because, you know, I'm not really an employee. I've got business owner mentality. So I'm not real. I wouldn't be a good employee because I wouldn't be good at like, hey, can you do that? And I'd be like, no, I'm doing something else. I would not be a good employee. I mean, that's not to say I'm not a team player and I don't pitch in, I don't jump in. I love all that, but at this point, I've been working on my own for so long, I think I would have a hard time. I mean, honestly, it's kind of that Karen mentality, right? Like, I'm not a Karen, but it's like middle-aged women. I mean, and these are my clients too, right? Like, we are women who have done a lot of things. We've seen a lot of things. We've had it with a lot of things. And, you know, we know, I'm just going to speak generally speaking, we know what we want and we know what we don't want. And oftentimes we just don't want to hear anyone. We don't want to waste our time with someone else's BS, right? Like, I don't waste okay, I'll speak for myself. I don't want to, like, spend my time waiting on someone else or taking, you know, like, that sounds so selfish, I know. But, you know, I'm at an age, I've worked hard all my life, and I'm building my business, I'm building my company, going through lots of shifts because I think my workshop days are over, at least in Mexico, at least till I figure out the next generation, right? You know, so I'm focused on building my brand. Oh, God, did I just say that? I'm focused on building my brand. That's so 2024, isn't it? But honestly, it's where my focus is. I don't have kids. I don't even have dogs right now, as I keep crying about. I'm going to need to change that. And so my focus is my business right now, and I'm working for the Rancho too. So I'm building my brand along with working at the Cañada. And, you know, I am back in San Miguel, and I'm glad that I have my moto scooter, but I honestly don't, I honestly don't see me staying there for the long haul because it's just such a small town. And honestly, there's, I don't know. Do I call it bad vibes? Maybe. I don't know. It's a small town, and it's, I'm not even going to get into it because I have a lot of friends in San Miguel, but I also don't know that I can hang out there for the long haul. So where would I go? I don't even know. It's not like I said, I can't go back to the United States unless my business, now this is a possibility, unless my business like totally blows up, and that would be very, very, very cool. Not that my goal would be to go back to the United States, but I would probably, maybe I'd come back here to Mexico City, the city I love, love, love with all my heart. I have a driver here. I don't use him a lot, but like when I need a driver, I call Edgar. I've known him for years, and he's a really great guy. And I had to arrange a driver for one of my workshop people coming in. And I was like, oh, I miss the city so much. And he was like laughing. He's like, are you kidding me? You miss this city? I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, this city? You miss this city? I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, oh my God. But no, he's a driver. And the, here, I'll just say it, like, this is not an easy city for Mexicans. I'm just going to say it like that. It is not an easy city for Mexicans. And this is why there's tensions now, right? Because the gringos, the foreigners move into Roma, Condesa, the prettiest part of the city. And they get all the water, and they get all the cafes, and they get all the beautiful restaurants and everything, right? And then you got Mexicans out in the neighborhoods that have lived there their whole life, and the city doesn't give them any water. And, there's safety issues and stuff like that. So it's this whole gentrification thing that from a foreigner's point of view, you come here, you're like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful city. Everything is like charming and it's so adorable. There's little ducks with monkeys on their head. There's Aztec gods everywhere, and I love and the architecture and Art Deco, and it's all just so freaking adorable. And it's beautiful, and it's very, designers are like, wow, the colors, the fonts, the architecture, the trees, the flowers, the whole deal. It's quite, if you're from an American city and you get here, it's like, it's off the charts. There's museums, there's art, there's culture, there's incredible tacos, there's incredible food. And so then we all move in and, oh my God, that's only $600 a month. Okay, I'll take it. When, historically that apartment's been $300 a month, and, a Mexican was able to afford it, right? So this is not the only place that it is happening, the gentrification, but because the city has been historically so much more affordable than other big cities, and that's rapidly changing. But, so you've got this huge influx of foreigners here that have pushed the Mexicans out of the good neighborhoods, right? Same thing's happening in San Miguel. You can't get a taco in Central. Well, you can get $1 million taco, right? And, and so things just shift. Things shift, right? Things have always shifted. It's not like this is the first time the whole culture has shifted, right? Like, that's what cultures do. They shift. Some die. Some prosper, right? It's what the world has been doing for millennia, right? But I will say that the tensions are high here in Mexico City. It's also, this is a presidential year, just like in the United States. Tensions are high in the United States. Tensions are high here in Mexico because, Mexico is a country that, how do I say this? I don't want to sound rude, but there's a lot of political violence here, where we have political violence in the United States. And January 6th, Donald Trump's January 6th insurrection really kind of changed everything when he attacked the U.S. government and had his minions attack the U.S. government. That was like kind of a first. That was the first non-peaceful transfer of power in the United States. And he seems to be very okay with the fact that he orchestrated that, and I guarantee you he'll do it again. I guarantee you he'll do it again. He may not be mentally aware of it, but I guarantee you his party of idiots is going to do it again. So here in Mexico, they have the political violence is a real issue, right? If a party doesn't like the other party, there could be a shootout, right? There could be great violence, right? So there's just tension in the whole world, right? So what do we do about this? I don't know. Do I sit at home and do I try to be a small person because I'm an American who's trying to live in Mexico and build a business and be an artist and draw? I mean, in my defense, I love Mexico and I love drawing it, and it's like honestly one of the coolest places. Like being back here in Mexico City, I drew the Aztec pyramids yesterday in one line and in about 10 minutes. It was just a little drawing, but I mean there's no greater thrill for me than to try to capture some of the energy and brilliance and chaos of the city. Life is lived out on the streets in Mexico, and once that got under my skin, it was very hard for me to like play that American game, only in the sense of like being from Chicago, even Austin, right? I lived in Austin for a number of years when I was married. You can't really live out in the street in Austin because it's too hot. And in Chicago, the weather, you've got the 4 seasons, so you can't really live out in the street, right? So it has a lot to do with the climate too, right? Like Mexico City is 72 degrees every day, except right now it's hot. It's warm right now, right? So we've got a lot of, this is April, so these are the hot months, and we haven't really had rain, right? So it's warm. Usually in the morning I have to wear a scarf, not anymore. So anyways, life is lived out on the street here because of the climate, right? I think it's even more delightful here in Mexico City. And San Miguel always seems super hot. There's no trees, so it's always like super hot and sunny. Beautiful trees here in Mexico City, right? So, you can eat your dinner out on the street. You can have your coffee year-round on the street in Mexico City. And you can't do that in other places, right? So there's a sense of life being lived out on the streets, and things are built around that. So as someone who likes to draw from real life and capture the energy of people and mercados and dogs and churches and the whole scene, right? This is one thrilling place. I mean, I know it's like that in Europe, but Europe is on the same page as, everything's super expensive there too, right? So I'm in the perfect place for me, but at the same time, I know things are changing quickly, and you just gotta, things are changing quickly everywhere, right? I think this year is going to be a very, what do we call it? It's going to be a pivotal year, right? Ooh, jeez. There's lots of cracks in the sidewalks here too from earthquakes and stuff. So you really have to watch where you're walking because you can fall very easily, right? As that gentleman just almost did. But he caught himself and and carried on. So anyways, it's going to be an interesting year. I'm super excited to be here in Mexico City. I love the thrill of it. I love the thrill of it, right? I love. I've got a really great agenda planned for my workshop group, and that kicks off on, they've already started to arrive, but we've got more coming in over the next few days, and super excited about it. So anyways, it's a big year for a lot of change. No matter where you're at, it's a big year for a lot of change, and so you gotta take care. You gotta just take care, and remember to go easy on yourself and easy on others, because we're all grappling our way. Even if it looks like from the outside, if it looks like everything's okay, it might very well be okay, but there are some new stressors in the world that are kind of new to, well, I guess in the sense that it's like it's everything's turned up to 11, right? Climate change and social change and war. My God, war. War is such a part of the daily landscape. Sometimes I'm just like, I can't even. It's too much. I can't look at starving children. I can't look, and gosh, is that like my privilege? I don't know. But I feel like I can't be useful if I'm so in the sadness of it, right? And that doesn't mean I don't care, and that doesn't mean I'm not affected by it, but I really have to take care, because I can't, if I'm in that sadness, I can't be as useful, and I feel like I need to be of service, and my way of being of service is to help people draw. And that seems like such a silly thing. I get it. I've grown up with all those opinions and attitudes about making art, all of them. I've grown up and have managing my way through all of those, like, how nice that you have the time to draw. How nice. Oh, what a luxury, right? I've grown up with it. I've been dealing with that my whole life. And at this point, I don't care. It's what I do. It's what I'm building my business around. It's how I feel like I am of service to the world. and it is what I want to do until the day I die. Draw. It's what I want to do until the day I die. And so, don't forget, finish big with a heart. Use the lines as a way to meditate and to feel better and to calm yourselves down, because even if just for 5 minutes you're able to detach from the noise of the world, the chaos from the world, and just have some space. I mean, if anything, especially those of us in this genre, right? We grew up in a time when there wasn't news 24/7. Like, you couldn't get an update at 2 in the afternoon. I mean, unless it was breaking news, right? So we grew up in a time when we didn't have cell phones, and we could go for a bike ride and not hear about wars on the other side of the world, right? And we're in a world that like is constantly battering us with all the bad news, right? All the bad news 24/7. And the worse the news, the louder it is and the more it's reported on. So you got to do the thing that makes you feel better, that makes you detach from it from a little bit, just to like get some space, right? Because if you're in that chaos all the time, it's hard to think clearly, and then when we don't think clearly, we don't make good decisions. So anyways, there's my thing for the day. I'm gonna go I'm doing my Zoom class today, and so I'm going to go grab my stuff and then go to my Zoom room. And so everyone have a good Monday. It is tax day. Haha, my taxes are done. That's another thing I feel really good about. In my years ago, I probably would be a wreck today. I'd be like, oh my God, I should probably do my taxes, right? I would do that on April 13th. And I don't operate like that anymore because I'm able to think clearly and make good decisions. Now, do I always make good decisions? No. But I like to think with time, with age, with practice, we start to make better decisions, right? So anyways, everyone, have a good day. Go easy on yourself. Go easy on others. Keep drawing. Keep telling your stories. And I'll see you next time, okay? Bye, everyone. Have a good Monday.